Hello there! Welcome to my office. What we're doing today is an image review from my last images of 2019. And I'm recording this in July of 2020 to put that into perspective. Yes, it's taking quite a while to edit everything and get everything going, but I thought we would move the image review indoors in front of the computer so that I can guide you a little bit. Let me just show you so that I can do things like look at this tree and how it's pointing and things like that, just to better illustrate what I think about the images and how I put up the compositions and everything. Just give more clarity and a better way to talk about the images. So that is the thought, and we should jump straight into it. But one thing, my family is away at the moment and I'm all alone and it's getting quite late. I'm not working tomorrow, so this is the perfect opportunity and in a very long time to bring out something special. So just hold on a moment and I'm gonna bring out one of these and one of these. So this is a Highland Park 12-year-old Viking Honor single malt Scotch whiskey. Oh, that sound is just... And now before I... First, let's just pour it up. Not too much, not too much. Established 1798. Now, just so that you know, I haven't had a single before I even started to talk, I'm spilling it out. You didn't see that. Now, before I start drinking, let me just preface this by saying I haven't had a single drop of alcohol inside me for well, probably almost a year, something along those lines, at least since last autumn. And well, yeah, so this is probably enough to get me drunk. I don't have a high alcohol tolerance at the moment. Anyway, this one is obviously not for kids, but let's jump into it and grab yourself something to drink. And let's have a nice time, shall we? Cheers. Clonk. Ooh, that's good. Ooh, that's really good. That's smooth. So, let's start with the first image here. Which was captured on a rainy or moody day. Let's call it a moody day. And this image I am very satisfied with, actually. I think I gave it 4 stars in the video. And yeah, it seems reasonable. It's almost a 5, but not quite. Yeah. So one of the things that I was talking about in the video is this tree right here. I was talking about blending in so that I had sharp branches instead of the blurry ones that you can see here. But I decided to keep the blurriness all around here just because I thought it added a certain, or it fitted with the mood of the clouds drifting by and everything. So I thought that these blurry branches really fitted in. The only thing is that these branches here, they are from the same frame, so it's no blending there. I just wish that they would have perhaps been a little bit blurrier as well. If we zoom into it here, you can see it is a little bit blurry right here and especially there, but at the same time it isn't really near the amount of blurriness that we have on these branches. Yeah, and overall with the image I really like the way that everything is flowing. So we have down here in the left corner we have water kind of starting out, and everything is just kind of pointing here towards the middle inwards, where we have the interesting clouds happening right there. And here in the corner it's like bending, and everything is kind of moving up into the clouds here as well. So everything is kind of moving into this mark in a sense. So it has the image has a nice visual flow. And the reason why I'm not giving it a 5-star rating is mostly because this area right down here is perhaps not as interesting, or well, I shouldn't really blame the area there. It is pretty alright, it fits in with the scene. Perhaps it should be a 5-star image, but is it exceptional though? That is the question. I'm gonna leave that open. I might move in the future into 5-star image actually, but yeah, I really like this image and I think it turned out surprisingly good. I didn't think that it would be that good of an image when I captured it, and even when editing it I'm actually surprised at how much I like it now afterwards. So yeah, let's move into the second image, which is the long exposure, and I think it was something along the lines of 8 to 16 minutes. I can't really remember right now. And I think I gave it 3 stars, and that's probably what I'm going to stick with. And here the main reason why I'm not giving it more than 3 stars, which is a good image, is that the area where everything is pointing right here holds no real interest. I mean, if we just zoom into it like this, it is basically nothing. So this area right here is where everything is pointing, but it holds no real interest in it. When capturing the image itself, I knew that I had these lines kind of moving in here, and I was a little bit worried that I wouldn't have anything kind of breaking these lines and moving the flow inwards towards where the lines in the sky are moving. But with the light that we have here and dodging and burning a bit in post here, I was able to basically create a visual interest and a flow moving through inwards towards this point. And all that worked out really well, but as I said, it holds no real interest where everything is pointing, so it's kind of pointing into nothingness, which isn't all that interesting. So therefore, this image is also going to stick on, or it's going to continue to be a 3-star image. I think it is a good image. It has certain interests, and it really relays or conveys the sense of the evening and everything. And also, if you've ever been to Yttre Bodane, where this was taken, and especially to this specific location, yeah, you're going to recognize it in a sense. And I also like the fact that the ground was a little bit damp, so it gives the rock this slight sheen, almost like a metallic surface. And I think that works really well when moving towards blue hour and those more reflected type of light, since then the reflected color of the light in the sky is reflecting down and then reflecting on the wet rocks, bouncing into the camera, and it really adds a nice color to the whole image in a sense. But anyway, I like the image, but it isn't anything that's going into my portfolio. I think it's just a good image. Moving on to the next one. Yeah, this woodland scene. And if you're wondering why I'm looking down here every now and again, simply to keep an eye on the time so that I know that you're still recording. Anyway, this scene that I spent 2-3 hours trying to find, in a sense. And yeah, I think I gave it 3 stars in the video. And in a sense, I'm actually surprised that I didn't give it more, or that I didn't like it more, I should say. When I captured it, I thought it would be a 4 or 5 star image. But basically what happened is that the light that I thought I had coming in here wasn't really that visible in the image itself. So a lot of the light that you can see here is actually painted in post. But that really, it worked out all right. I mean, it looks all right. It's nothing really inherently wrong with the light itself. But everything is kind of just pointing towards this rock, which is the visual interest in the image, and that is yet again how it was supposed to be. That was how I set the image up. But the thing that I don't necessarily like all that much is basically what is happening in the background, which isn't really anything special at all. First and foremost, we have the sky poking through the trees here, and that isn't really, it isn't adding anything, and it is detracting a little bit. What I did is that I brought the light levels down, so most of the sky here is darker than the light here in the foreground, apart from some of these spots. Having the sky too dark also means that it starts to look really unnatural. But basically the thing that I don't really like all that much about this image, even though I think the composition and everything is alright, is that the background isn't really adding anything to the scene. So we have the light itself coming in, shining upon a visual interest, and then what exactly? Nothing really. And that is the issue that I have with this image. It isn't continuing into the completion of the scene in a sense. Perhaps I could have done it a little bit better by trying to bring up this tree a little bit more and try to perhaps add some visual interest into the back. But then again, that would have detracted from this rock, and it would have been a more cluttered image, and probably it would have lacked even more of a clear visual path or visual language or whatever I want to call it. So I'm gonna keep it at 3 stars. It is a good image, but well, nothing more than that, unfortunately. Oh, and this image, I think I gave it 2 stars, and two stars is an all right image. Is it though? Is it really all right? I don't think so. I think this is actually a 1-star image, which means that it is a poor image. And the reason why is not anything really technical with the image. I mean, everything is in focus. Everything is, all the lights is well handled, the luminance. So yeah, I mean, this bright spot here, this bright spot, the shadows down here, here and here, everything is well handled in that sense. But it lacks proper visual elements to guide the viewer through the image, to hold interest, to lead interest, to do anything. This tree here is kind of like a foreground, but it doesn't lead anywhere. Nothing leads the viewer from that tree inward towards anything. It doesn't really lead up, it doesn't lead down. So the viewer in that sense would have to kind of jump to here or to there, which still isn't leading anywhere. Also here we have interest, which isn't leading anywhere. So we basically have like 1, 2, 3, 4 4 visual elements that have interest, and none of them are interrelated. So nothing there, nothing there, nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. So you get the point. Nothing's leading towards anything. Nothing is relating towards anything. So even though it's a well-handled image, and well, it isn't the best light either, but still it isn't relating to anything. It isn't conveying anything. So in that sense, I think it's a poor image, and I'm going to lower it down to 1 star. Moving on to the next one. Now this one is a lot more interesting, and I really spent a lot of time capturing this image. I stood there and I grabbed image after image after image as the light changed a lot, because the sky was moving just so quickly, and breaks in the clouds were opening up here and there, and the light was shining at different places. And in the end, it's a blend of two images, so it's one image for the sky and another one for the foreground. And if you look really closely, now I'm just giving away I'm spoiling the image for myself and for you. The light from this opening here is actually shining more in this direction than in, or well, rather, if you can see, the light here is shining more like this, and if, or well, I suppose maybe I did it wrong, it should be shining, it isn't, as I said, this is shining there, and this would have added a little bit of a different glow than what you actually have here in the foreground. So the sky image had a bigger opening, like right here. That was kind of shining properly. But anyway, it's a minor detail. It isn't really all that visible if you don't know that you're looking. I mean, the visual path of the light could easily be like this, and the light that we're having is within that opening, so I guess it is alright. And well, what I did when editing this image is, it's all about the play of light. Even though we have these nice visual lines leading in the image here, and breaks off with the light leading through there, so everything is kind of pointing towards this general area. The same with the lake and everything. Everything is pointing generally towards here, which is where the light is happening, which is a good thing. Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned, but I think I gave it 4 stars. Yeah, anyway, everything is leading in towards there, and it's we have opening elements both here in the left corner, but also actually here in the left, there's a left there, I mean the right and the left corners. And as I said, we have visual interest elements to lead into the main event, which is the sun and the big, beautiful, dramatic sky that we have there. The reason why I don't think that it is an outstanding image is 2 things. Firstly, we have quite similar amount of land and sky, so the just losing my train of thought a little bit. The sky is perhaps just a little bit big, but at the same time I don't want to crop it out, because then I would remove interest up in this corner, and I mean the sky is important, so it's, I don't know, I suppose that this is the best way to say, is that I feel like the sky is a little bit big, but at the same time I can't find a reason to crop the image more. Let's see, if we just go to the crop tool here real quick and just crop it down a little bit and see how that looks. Well, maybe I could. Maybe that would add more interest. It would make it more clear which way the visual path is supposed to lead. I mean, now it's pretty obvious that just got... Now it's it's obvious that you're supposed to start looking down here and we're moving up towards this point. Whereas before it wasn't really as obvious. So just cropping the image a little bit more, and I could actually see myself giving this 5 stars. Yeah, I think so. And the other part of the image that, at least in the uncropped version, this part right here wasn't really that fulfilling, but when cropping it down a little bit more here, this part right here isn't really detracting that much anymore, since it isn't having, or we don't really have that big overhead right up towards the right here. It's much smaller there. So yeah, I actually think doing it like this will allow me to raise this image up to a 5-star image. We're making progress. Cheers. Moving on. This image, which was from my last video of 2019. Remember to drink a little bit of water as well. And this image is all about the layering. Yeah, I'm not really sure where we left off. So a few minutes ago, so let's just kind of redo it, I suppose. So let's just jump into where I kind of remember, in a sense. And that is, how did I put it? My mind wants to give this image 3 stars, but my feelings want to give it 2 stars. And that is because when I think about the image, everything is lining up. We have a foreground that works. We have a progression going through here, and it ends in something that is quite interesting. So in that sense, everything works, and granted that it isn't the best foreground, it still is a good integration of the scene, in a sense. But I think where my feelings are in conflict is this part here and this part here. I don't like the heather here in the foreground, nor do I like the trees here in the midground that much. If we would have had fall color here in the midground and perhaps some nicer rock formation or something like that in the immediate foreground here, then I would have liked the image. I would have felt better about the image. But as it stands now, yeah, I'm gonna keep it at 3 stars since the mind is a better place to make decisions than your feelings. So I'm gonna keep it at 3 stars and move on to the last image, which is probably my best woodland image so far. I think I gave it 4 stars in the video. Yeah. And mainly the reason for not giving this image 5 stars is basically that it is a little bit cluttered with leaves and well, foliage, dead foliage everywhere, and it is perhaps adding a few distracting elements. So if I would have cloned a lot of this out, so let's see if we can do just a quick dirty job on that. Just to see how that would look, kind of. Obviously not going to be brilliant. Yeah, something like that, I suppose. Yeah, well, anyway. Just to see how it kind of would have looked if I did. Obviously, if I'm going to do this otherwise, I'm going to spend a lot more time on it. Yeah, but something like this, and then let's just compare it with how it was before and after. Perhaps removing some of the things so removing like these things would add to the scene, but removing these bigger things would make it just too clean and it would look unnatural in a sense. But I would perhaps go back and just clean up a few of these things, especially along the edge, because they are adding too much attention to places where I don't really want attention to be, along the edges. So border patrol, as a certain Nick Page calls it. And that would add more of a visual flow leading into, or starting at the right corner here and just leading into this tree and then following the light over towards this side and then just basically ending up somewhere along here. And I know I've had similar things with other images, but the difference here is that the background itself, so everything basically there, is just a continuation of the forest into infinity in a sense. It has no real elements in the back here that are really breaking the flow of the image, so everything just continues. And part of the way that I've achieved that as compared to let's see, this image, is that I've cloned out the sky in this one, and here we have a lot of sky. And part of the reason that I could do that is that this image had less sky than this image to begin with. But it does mean that the continuation of the forest is never broken. It, in a sense, as I said, it goes on to a hypothetical infinity that you can't see. So it's like the horizon. You know that it is something more behind there, but you can't see it, and it is therefore really not that important. As opposed to here, you can see the sky behind, and it does grasp your interest and your attention, and therefore it kind of detracts from the scene. But this scene, as I say, it does not have that distraction, therefore it works better. But I still think I'm gonna keep it at 4 stars. One other thing that I don't really like is this tree here is soaking up a lot. It's really dark and it's really prominent. But yeah, I couldn't really, if I'd moved to another position in field, I would have lost all of this, which is really very important. And then this tree here is just too big to clone out. So yeah, I still think it's really a strong image, and I'm gonna keep it at 4 stars, but I'm probably going to clean up at least this area here before I'm putting it up as a portfolio image on my website, which is probably going to happen sometime in the future. Not too distant future. Yeah. And that basically concludes this image review. Have a little bit left. Cheers, and I hope you've enjoyed. Watching this image review. And just to let you know, the editing of the new season 5 of my landscape photography vlog, or landscape photography adventures, as they are probably going to be called going forward, is moving along a lot slower than I had anticipated. Simply a lot of things has been going on in with life, basically. Summer always means lots of extra work for me, apparently. And I've also been preparing for my next adventure, filming my next Waiting for Light film, which I'm embarking on in 4 days. So this video is recorded kind of in the last minute, but I want to share just a little bit of a teaser for the next video that I'm working on. It's almost finished, but I want to polish it a little bit more, add just a little bit more of, let's say, thematic aspects to the whole series. So basically adding text and everything like that, and have everything, all of those things kind of flow together through the whole season. I just want to do it that way. But it's not going to be released next week and probably not the week after that, but then the week after that, which was probably going to mean in the beginning of August sometime, August 5th or 12th, so almost a month from now. Yeah, it's too bad that it's taking that long, but hey, the next episode after that shouldn't take that long, since then I'm moving back more into a proper editing routine and everything. So hopefully that is going to work out all right for you and for me and everyone. And enjoy this little teaser, and hope you had a good time reviewing my images and perhaps you even learned something. Or anyway, hope you had something good to drink, and well, like if you like this video, subscribe if you aren't subscribed, write a comment if you have any questions or just want to leave a few kind words. And until next time, goodbye.